What's up? I hope that you and your loved ones are fine, are well, in good health. Today I wanted to speak about something that's been on my mind recently. The other day I was walking home and I saw an older lady sitting down at a bench. It was dark already and she had both a vape and her phone in her hand. She looked like she was from 45 to 63, around there, right? She looked like an older lady. As she was wielding both things and she was sat there alone at night next to the road, it wasn't like a nice view or anything. And as for her physical aspect, she was a little bit fat. She was looking at neither objects, but rather looking through those and looking at the floor. As I was going to my destination, home, I looked at her and her expression. I couldn't help but to see members of my family in her situation, right? And how I would hate to see them like that, with a look of melancholy on their expression, wielding devices which are viceful and just there alone, unhealthy. Like, it would be quite painful if that was your parent or your older sibling or somebody that you cared about. As I saw that expression, I feared about where we will be later on. Because as we know, if you look at the world, it doesn't seem like we are headed in a good direction as a society. We are becoming more promiscuous, more loose with our diets, more lacking in values and morals. Be it our diet or other objects in our environment are increasing in fertility. Overall, people seem to not want to have kids as much as before. So there's a lot of things that are going to cause loneliness in the future. We already have a lot of lonely young men and young women, but it's just going to get worse and worse. I thought about when it actually started. A lot of people like to blame social media and other things, but I took a step back. There is these paintings that I really like by, I think his name is Thomas Cole. The sequence of paintings are called The Courts of Empire. Here they are. And what I'm about to say may give you both despair and hope, but I don't think that we are just now heading into destruction, but rather we've already headed into destruction multiple times and we will destroy ourselves but re-emerge victorious once again. And I don't intend to make this a history class, but you're going to get some facts out of this. So we had the World War II. There were still some battles here and there after that, and there still are today, with Palestine, with Ukraine, with the Taliban and all this stuff. But if we step a little further away and look more on a global scale, what happened after the wars was destruction and then having to re-emerge once again. The rebuilding of the nations, of the populace, of everything. The security and then the consumption stage. And very well this could be the 80s and 90s for the previous generation or parents. The 80s and the 90s where they were partying, doing a lot of drugs, dancing, hooking up with a lot of people. And people don't really talk about it. They think that it was more rare, the whole hookup culture, but it was not. Actually a lot of our parents are, through what we look at today, quite the whole characters. Throughout all of this consumption, we see a lot of older folk with big bellies from beer, from other things. A lot of folks that are older and separated, a lot of older ladies, older men that are just not with a partner. And loneliness and solitude all around. We think that it's a new thing, a new generational thing with social media. But that isn't really the case. Worse yet, the people that have not been exposed that long to the whole technology advancements, the older generation, are already also hooked up into the shorts and the TikToks. I've seen my own mother playing short after short after short, and I just hear and I can tell what's going on. And I'm like in my room reading a book or something, and I think, wow, she's 60. They got her as well, it's crazy. It's not a new thing. And even worse than not being a new thing, we are going to have it for a long, long, long time. It's like our parents do not grasp the concept of technology, nor of not needing things like university and of the sort for a good future. It's just out of their comprehension, right? A lot of the times. For us, we're going to end up being so submerged, so rotten in the brain from having been exposed for decades into this thing, that when we reach their age, 50, 60, right, we are going to be pretty much brain dead. Actually, we are just going to not have any patience for anybody, no ability to be coherent in speech, no ability to foster a relationship with patience and with love, because we'll just look for the next best thing. Hookup culture, I don't like this person, let's go for another one. I don't like problems, let's go for a new route. And I just feel terrible for the older generations. on another kind of side note, it's hard to look far into the future. So a lot of the decisions that we make today are not in our best interest for a long-term aspect. So for example, relationships, there's a lot more single ladies that are older than single men that are older, and also the other way around, a lot more younger single men than younger single women. Now the problem with this isn't to mix and match, obviously, because a young guy doesn't want to be with an older woman for a family and all of that. The other way around perhaps, but the woman then is going to end up alone when she's 50-60 because the guy will be no longer there. He'll be like a granddad essentially. I don't want to talk about what my opinion of the solution would be for both cases in a short video like this, but what I did want to talk about was that we should look at these older generations and be a lot more careful in what we do. Be more patient and step away from screens, step away from the values and morals that we hold as our generation that are going to actually destroy us, make us so much sadder, so much worse. If we are on our 20s now, we might enjoy life, right? Because it's arguable whether your spirit truly enjoys these things, but I'm not going to talk about metaphysics. You get to your 30s, maybe the end of your 40s. The clock is ticking to have kids and a fun family. If you do want to have them, you will need to start looking for a partner. There will be 1,000 problems that will come along when it comes to actually finding the right person, knowing that they're the right person, so enough time has gone by or you've actually qualified them for yourself, having the kids, having a financial situation that's stable. The other person wanting the same thing as you. Maybe you want one kid, maybe they want 3, 4, right? So you will have to compromise or look for somebody else because neither of you want to compromise. It'll be hard for you to be patient and to deal with what comes with real love, which is hardships, you know. It's not all perfect and beautiful. Perhaps you're a lottery winner, right? Perhaps you find your soulmate or the perfect person for you. Because the perfect person blank doesn't exist. But even if you find that lottery, do you want to just rely on finding lottery, or do you want to find somebody that makes you happy? You're not so different in your worldview that you can't compromise or be together and you meet each other halfway. For example, you love your partner, but every now and then, realistically, they piss you off, but it doesn't mean that you get angry at them necessarily. Sometimes you may do, sometimes you falter, but a lot of the times you say, okay, this is kind of part of the deal, right? I can't find in a feasible manner the perfect person, so I knew the hardships would come along. Here I am with these hardships. Now I must affront them. I must be a strong man or woman. Stand straight with deep breaths. I need to be patient. I need to realize what is happening. I need to realize that in order to have a family that is happy, a family that is safe and united, sometimes we must sit through the storm and let it rain on us. Not try to hide away or say, I'm going to another place to run away from the rain. No, because you go to another place and you complain about the hot weather. You go to another place and you complain about the cold weather. You go to another place, it's the wind, always the thunder, always everything is the world. But you never look at yourself. You never make the effort of changing who you are. It's something that's been occupying space in my mind that I'm quite curious about. It's been troubling me a little bit because I see it happening to the older generation already. It's easier to hook older people and it's harder to unhook them into things because they're more stubborn and they're more like, I'm old, no one can tell me anything, my way or the highway, and that's it, right? We know these things. So at least let them be an example for you and think, wow, it's been, maybe 6 years or so since the whole TikTok and Shorts came along and the whole world started to get hooked into it. I'm seeing a lot of older people actually in the street or in my own family scrolling through these things, and you can't really get them off it when they are on it, right? And then obviously they're fine overall, they still have old habits. I don't know, maybe they go on a walk or maybe they're without a screen or technology for a lot of hours, which in today's age for somebody in our generation might be right, quite difficult to attain, but they do have those other problems still. And we already have those problems now. Imagine in 20 years, because we are also doing what they did in the 80s and 90s. We are partying a lot, we are sleeping around a lot. And even if there's a group of people that don't party, that seclude themselves and that are lonely, usually these people might be a little better off later, because at least they weren't hooked into all of these vices. If this is you, don't worry too much about it, but try not to be alone anyway. Try to have healthy groups that you go with, to play some sport at the beach, to play something, right? A community. I have my disco community you can join. It's not look, I don't want it to replace your real life community where you have people that you go out with and stuff, but it is a community where we have a lot of accountability, where we try to become better people and all that stuff. I mean, just like I said at the end of the videos, try to be 1% better every day, and much love.